Good.
Now we're at.
All right, we're live.
We're ready?
We're live.
Okay, so we'd like to call the meeting to order, the June 27th meeting of the County of Oswego Industrial Development Agency. First order of business is the minutes from the May meeting. Everybody got them in their portal and reviewed them. Motion by Tricia, seconded by Mark. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Notice of the meeting.
Do you want to call the roll?
Oh, yeah, that would help. Who's the secretary? Tim?
Aye.
Go for it.
All right, Nick Mill.
Present.
Mary Ellen Chesbrough.
Present.
Mark Greco.
Present.
Trish Peter Clark.
Present.
Tim Stahl is here. Pat Carroll.
Present.
Gary Sand. Present. We're on here.
Okay.
We'll have Kevin Lamontagne do a roll call of any staff.
Sure. So here in the room we have Austin Wheelock, our Chief Executive Officer, Kevin Caracoli, our General Counsel, me, I'm the Chief Financial Officer of the agency, Kevin Lamontagne, and we have Nate Emmons, who's on the staff here as well.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry about that, guys. I'm getting used to this. Treasurer's report. Everybody was able to review that, I hope. Can I take a motion on that?
I like it.
Tim, in a second.
I'll second.
Mel? Any comments or questions or anything we need to know in particular that you want to point out, Kevin?
Yeah, I'll make just a few fairly quick comments. Again, we'll talk about delinquent pilots for the agenda in executive session, but we're at the stage now where pilots generally have been collected and remitted to the taxing authorities. So, but for any that we haven't yet collected, we'll discuss later. We've now received our share of the 10% of the county portion has come into the IDA. It's about $224,000 this year. And also all of our remittances have been made as of the end of May. So we're in good shape with that. The other thing we're tracking pretty closely on is revenue, and we are running a little bit short on fee income versus year to date last year. We're about $90,000 behind on the top line of the income statement. You can see 264 versus 352 it's the same month last year. We have quite a queue of projects to close in reasonably short time. The question really is which projects will close and generate additional fee income before the end of our fiscal year or go into next year. But we have a project queue of approved but not yet closed, but realistically will close. They're not dead projects. Is pretty strong.
Yep. And there's several that have indicated they'd like to close before the end of July. That I think is going to push us, over that number.
Yeah.
Calculated out to about 100 plus thousand.
A couple that might close soon are the Chase project together with Connects Care, which should close quite soon. 2 solar projects, only 1 and 2. At the last meeting, we approved the change of ownership, and we're working also to close. We have a new project on the agenda for NET&I out of the city of Fulton. We'll talk about the schedule for that a little bit later. That'll close soon. But we also have Daldrop, the manufacturer in the industrial park, and another project in the industrial park that's been fully approved. It's ACLS. So they seem a little slower track for a few things. So that'll probably be this fall, I guess.
Hey, Kevin?
Yeah.
We have last year.
We got last year's as of right now.
Oh no. On the balance sheet?
Run as of May 31st, 23.
Is it just a typo in the?
No, it's not the right one. It's not the right one. The one I'm looking at is, and I don't know what happened.
Could we? Let me go ask Karen to print that off, and we can jump to another thing and come back to that.
Yeah, because I'm going to be
Just
making copies of that one.
Yep.
Because that'll be easier than printing it the same way off the system. I apologize for that. Thank you, Nick.
Great. Alright, so we'll put the treasurer's report on hold for now. And then we'll move on to number 4, NET&I and Glen River Holdings. Initial resolution. Is this you, Kevin?
Yeah, yep, I can cover this. Austin's certainly familiar with this project. So NET&I is a metal products manufacturer in the city of Fulton, a long-time manufacturer there. I think that's 3rd generation. So the owner of NET, Michelle Chatreau, some of you may know about this project already. It's been in development for a long time, years actually. The company is purchasing the former Kmart building at the Cleveland Community College campus was good into good graces of the college to sell that property, or the foundation of the college, sell that property. And it's a very large expansion for NET, and I have some facts and figures here. Well, this is today in front of us is one of the initial resolution, which qualifies the application as a project and also allows us to schedule a public hearing. But the Kmart building up there is 92,000 square feet. So this is a very large, for Oswego County, this is a very large manufacturing project.
So are they, the whole college going away? In
No, I shouldn't explain it. So the college is subdividing 7.1 acres out of 22.1 acres, which is the property, basically a line drawn around the Kmart's parking in front, around the side. Yeah, so it's just the furthest south building, a big box, basically. We call it sort of the T. We had former Price Shoppers, the college building, there's other college functions in between and the small storefronts, and then on the right-hand side is the Kmart. So it's the Kmart, some property behind it, on the south end, and then in front, so parking and access for trucks and so forth.
I'm surprised they would let that go. Not
Yeah,
thinking of any future development that the college may want to go into.
I should mention that I am the president of the Cleveland Community College Foundation, so I know this, pretty firsthand. So I think I can speak in a way for the college, or at least for the foundation. The college, community colleges are changing their makeup of students in a big way. And there's less students on the physical campuses than there ever have been. Also, community colleges are struggling, like many colleges are struggling with admissions, but what's happening at community college in Cleveland for sure is more and more students are taking community college classes in high school, and then also with the multiple locations and then some other programs they have, there's less traditional students that might graduate high school, then go to community college for 2 years, and go to the 4-year, for a couple of years, or go to the workforce after that. It's becoming a much less traditional model than what we've seen before. So anyway, brick and mortar really isn't as necessary as it was once thought it would be. The college is very interested in having a proactive, NET and I is very proactive in the workforce arena in the county, working with, of course, the Oswego County workforce, but also brings in interns. They bring in, not really interns, but really kind of apprentices, and then they work their way up. They start at part-time on an apprentice wage, they work their way in to become a full-time skilled machine operator. So that co-location with the college, although there's no specific plans, I think in the future would be very beneficial probably for both, especially with KU's efforts with the Advanced Manufacturing Institute and some of the things they're trying to do.
Which is right there.
It's right there, right, literally on the other side of the firewall.
Correct.
In the storefront.
So
So
they talked about some potential programs. with
yeah,
them, to do
it's
that.
a lot of synergies, I think.
Okay,
but-
that's interesting.
Yeah, so Cayuga Community College really isn't looking at additional brick and mortar like in Auburn. They're looking at renovating a lot of their, particularly in the STEM areas, renovating a lot of their facilities. They just recently, Mark, you could tell us, but I think it's completed the police academy project, or
It's almost done.
yeah, that's it, the Fulton campus. The Manufacturing Institute is a relatively new build out at the Fulton campus, so they have made significant investments in Fulton, continue to make investments in Auburn, of course, but this building really isn't part of their future plans. It's almost too big, too expensive, not quite what they need, and they don't see.
Maintenance on it is, when they build these big shopping malls, they got a lifespan of about 20, 25 years, and then they move someplace else, and then because they have to have a new roof, and they've got
That's
to
right.
be done, and with the reduction in, 10 days of campus or tuition or so, if they maintain it,
Yeah.
it'd be costly to maintain that.
So the sale of this building has been, there's a contract to purchase it. The college has agreed that a foundation is the titled owner of the property, but the college and the board of trustees has also agreed to sell it. They've been in support of this for quite some time.
How many people are gonna be working?
So this would increase employment. It's really an increase of 10 full-time, but also part of that increase would be transitioning of 3 current or planned apprentices from part-time to full-time. So it's technically a reduction of 3 part-time and an increase of 10 full-time. The current workforce at NET is, bear with me just a moment, is 23 full-time and 6 part-time. And that incidentally is up from what it was even a year. We've been working on this project with Michelle for a long time. That's increased, but probably close to 10
Yeah.
employees in the time.
They've seen significant growth since COVID. COVID hurt them. It impacted them greatly in terms of their supply chain, their customers, and everything else. So they've kind of been building back. And also interesting to understand is that NET and Dye works on very large pieces of equipment and very large, the products that they create. They're creating large, gigantic pumps and other things like that. They do work, on what we call large scale manufacturing. So, they need a lot of space and not necessarily need, the equivalent amount of people per, square foot or something like that. But it is, they're a very key manufacturer in the county because of the kind of work that they do, and they're part of our key industry cluster, which is metal manufacturing.
What's the condition of the parking lot there?
Fair question. It has been greatly improved recently. If you've been in that building anytime last decade, it was pretty bad. The college, at their expense, has repaved a good part, the really bad parts, and the rest is pretty serviceable right now.
I was wondering, you're saying they're large
really
pieces of
improved.
equipment, you're gonna have trucks going in and out of houses.
Yeah, they've negotiated a right of way. The way they stream traffic through that campus keeps vehicles away from the college buildings. They don't allow vehicles right in front of what used to be a Price Chopper. They come around the outside. And then longer term plans include Michelle creating an entrance, a back door, basically a back entrance to Price Drive.
Okay.
What's the road?
Pierce.
Pierce Drive, thank you. That would be trucked, suitable for trucks to get out to 481. But they have agreed to some rights of way for trucks.
So what we have before us today is the initial resolution.
Yeah, so then we'll have a full cost benefit at the next meeting. So it's a standard package, a 20-year manufacturing UTEP pilot. The building incidentally is exempted every year. There's an annual exemption in place. Being part of an educational institution, it is exempted from real estate taxes now. So even with that pilot, there will be additional tax revenues generated. They've asked for sales tax exemptions and mortgage recording tax exemption. So pretty much a standard package for manufacturing.
And financing?
We're not participating in any finance. We've talked to Michelle a number of times about it, but at this point.
Yeah, I will say that we put in an application, if you remember earlier this year, we put in an application for USDA for some potential additional new funding to be able to do some equipment financing for them. We're still waiting to see if that'll be approved. So at this time, we're not looking to do any financing as part of this. But if that is approved, we would look to do, and that would be with new funding coming through USDA.
We've approved that already.
Yeah, that was already approved, subject to receiving the funding.
The bank involved is for information, is Tompkins Trust or Tompkins Bank. They have put together a very good package for NET Bank, so including an SBA 504 and some equipment financing.
Have they started through the local review process with the city?
Oh yeah, it's complete. Yep, the subdivision of the 7 acres more or less is complete, or approved, not complete, and the site plan has been fully approved. Zoning, whatever needed to be done with zoning, which I'm not 100% sure, has been completed as well. That was a couple months ago, so we're in good shape.
It is, okay.
On that. Yeah.
I want to make sure the county passed new subdivision review law back last year. Just want to make sure that had been, it didn't predate that, because that would be something they have to look at again. So I
No, it was earlier this year, so
Sure, yeah.
very late last year. I can check.
I think it was October, November.
Yeah, I think pretty sure it was earlier this year too.
One of the things, Kevin, to talk about is sort of the accelerated timeline that they're looking for, related to closing.
Yeah. So in order to support this, what we view as a very critical manufacturer, we've come up with a plan to get this project closed very quickly. It's the first time we've ever done anything like this. For only reasons the company would understand, they were a little late to us in their own timeline, getting us an application. So our plan is to, of course, if we get approval today, we'll schedule a public hearing. You all know we've rescheduled the July meeting because of this project, to July 18th, instead of originally scheduled for July 25th. But the plan is to get all the closing documents ready between now and basically our meeting on July 18th. And in theory, we'll be ready to close on July 19th. Whether we actually hit that date, I don't know, but all we have as of a call, yes, very productive call that Kevin organized yesterday, we have all the boats rowing in the same direction for that closing, and meaning the bank, the SBA underwriting company, and the seller, and us. So Barclay Damon's right on board. So
at least a dozen people on this call.
yeah, it was quite a screen full of faces.
Yeah.
But
So our plan is to make sure that if there's any delays, it's not on our end. It's related to their ability to pull together the information we need in a timely fashion.
and the companies in a rush really only because they desperately need the space to keep, where they're at with their business and that, so. I should also say we'll talk more about it at the next meeting, but the current facility on Foster Street in the city of Fulton will continue to be utilized for manufacturing. We'll talk in more detail about that next meeting, but NET and I will leave some machines there, and we'll likely lease out some space to other manufacturers as well to run equipment in that building. So they're not even abandoning a facility. They're continuing that facility to be some kind of manufacturing, maybe less activity, storage perhaps, and then also expanding into the Kmart building.
Okay.
So I think it's really a fantastic project.
All right, any other questions or concerns on this? So we're moving the initial resolution. Can I get a motion on that?
So moved.
Mark?
Sorry.
Pat? Any comments or questions?
Sorry.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I want to pass out the treasurer's report?
Yeah,
Now we'll look at this year
Yeah,
today, rather than last year today.
be helpful, right? So you need this still.
Yeah, thank you.
Good eye on catching that.
Yeah, thank you. Embarrassing, but we were talking about fee income and some of the projects on deck to close, whether they close by July 31st, the magic day, or into August or September. So some of them will still be to be determined. So, and as I mentioned, the pilot payments, but for any late pilots have been collected and everything's been remitted to the taxing authorities. So we're in good shape on that process. I don't have any other comments on the statements. Now that you have the correct ones in front of you. If there are any questions, you can see on the income statement, which is I think the fourth page of the pack, or the last page really, the top line revenue I was talking about. We're running a little shy last year and where we intended to be for the year, but with some of those closings now, we can close that gap. We've basically been saying the same thing for some time. We've continued to have a good queue of projects. So.
Okay.
Need a motion?
We got a motion and a second, we just did a vote.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the IDA budget.
Sure, so I can report on this. So every year, the IDA has to prepare an adopted budget for the fiscal year 2025, and then we also have to do 3 years of proposed budgets for 26, 27, 28, and this is for the New York State Authority Budget Office. So it needs to be approved by the IDA to then be submitted to Paris through the ABO. So management has developed the budget that you have in front of you. This is the most up-to-date version of that. This is before it's specific really to Paris reporting, so the way that some of these are categorized is different than how you look at it in our monthly financial statement, but these are the categories provided by Paris, so we have to have it in that format. Some things to understand the budget that, you may look at what the actual from last year is and then kind of look at the estimated and then projected is that, the numbers for this year are significant, from the actual from last year were significantly higher. As you remember, there was a $250,000 item to do sewer down in the town of Albany at the airport and the adjacent industrial park property. So we don't keep these sort of atypical expenses and projected numbers going forward, but also understand that with some of the non-operating revenues and non-operating expenses, those are hard to time. The significant items within the pilot EDF, which would be considered non-operating revenue, and then non-operating expenses when those are paid out, and it's hard to time the when those actually happen. So those are kind of corrected on a year-to-year basis in the estimated and actual, but they don't really get carried in the projected. So some other interesting things. So if you look at where non-operating expenses are, that includes things like loan issuance expenses because of the way the federal debt works. When we issue it, it also has to be considered an expense, and then it is collected back as a revenue. So some of those things are expense on paper only. Really, it's not an actual expense. But yeah, if there's any questions, I can answer. Kevin or I could both answer. One other thing I want to state on this is that in the past, some of the things look different. We wanted to make an effort, especially for this year going forward, to better segregate operating revenues and expenses from non-operating revenues and expenses, because they are coming from different buckets, and they are, you know, categorized differently in terms of the way we can use those funds. So you know, it shows some pretty large items under non-operating revenues, and then other expenses that, you know, probably wasn't the way it looked before, but I think it better follows our financials, although it's not a specific matching up, but it better follows how we do our own accounting.
Can you explain the investment earnings, why it's so low compared to what you're expecting going forward?
Sure. So a lot of that is related to the significant increase in interest rates for savings accounts. That sort of hit it. When you look at what last year's fiscal year was, you know, we don't operate on a calendar year fiscal year, so that calendar year, that year was actually, it was August 22 through July 31, 23. So for half of that time, it was at a significantly lower interest rate. So at some time in that, it kicked up. And that's why showing for the estimated this year is 102. Now, when we look at the projected going forward, I'm not anticipating, and this is why I have some going down, is that interest rates will stay high forever. So this is a conservative approach of looking at those numbers will go down over time, you know, but not just kind of cutting it back, you know, significantly. We're kind of looking at that tapering back. Yep. So that's what the actual was, investment earnings in that, you know, fiscal year 23, which is half of 22, half of 23. The 102 is where we are, you know, where we're projecting it to be at the end of this month for the fiscal year 24, and then, you know, obviously looking at a more conservative approach as we go forward.
So where's the pile of withholding money fall in here?
So that's under other non-operating revenues. Yeah, that was one of the changes we made, because in the past those were sort of looked at as revenues, just revenues, and it's not really that way. There's restricted uses on those, so we are categorizing that as a other non-operating revenue going forward. And then that also categorizes down to other, you know, expenses as well. So
it's essentially any money that is coming in as income to the EDF fund, is that categorized in that bucket?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, including interest created on that bucket too. Yeah. So yep.
Makes sense.
No, that's good questions though.
Any questions on this?
So do we need to approve it?
Yeah, it needs to be approved because we need to submit it to ADO.
I'll make the motion.
Mark, second?
One second.
Well, any other questions or concerns? Nice job, guys.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Do we need to explain to the newer board members why we are reporting to France on this, or?
Perry, yeah, so because this is the IDA is an entity that was created by both legislation of Oswego County and New York State, we are beholden to report to New York State, and we report to the authority budget office via the comptroller. So this is the model that the state created, probably I think it was about 2012. Before that, there, you know, other than the auditing financial statements that we provided as well as the annual report, there wasn't really a model to do that. So for about the last 12 years, the IDA, as well as Operation Oswego County and other, you know, entities, local development corporations, and whatever, report to the ABO, and you know, if they like what they see, you're okay, and if they don't like what you see, they come in and do a nice audit of you, and you know, highlight you to the rest of the state.
So what does Paris stand for?
Public authorities reporting information.
So yes, yeah. So it's pretty much a database that we put all our information into on a yearly basis, and then they check it against things. And I will say that the last 2 years since I've been involved in doing this, you know, when we report these things, the state then has an internal auditor. Kind of, they ask questions. They may, if they want to have things changed, they will open it back up for you to make those changes. Last year we had a longer process of doing that. This year we had it was like a one, you know, hey, can you explain this? We explain it. Okay, great. We're closing it. You're good. So I mean, we've gotten pretty good at doing this process. I want to thank the team that we have here for doing it. You know, from Kevin in terms of helping to get the financials in a good place, to the auditor team that we have at Grossman St. Moore, Karen in terms of inputting, and then, us all working together to make sure that we minimize any issues the state may have. And so this is one of the things that we submit. We also have to submit within 90 days of the end of our fiscal year, our sort of that, what they call an annual report. It's not the annual report document, but their annual report that you put together. So that's something we'll be doing later this year as well. That's the end of our fiscal year is July 31. So we have to have that submitted by October 31. So more to come on that.
Just historically, the Public Authorities Accountability Act started out as an executive order under the Pataki administration in the mid-90s. And now it's morphed into this, right? It was a one-page executive order. Now we're just gonna, have a accountability in our public authorities, and now it's turned into,
Quite an administrative thing.
Anything else? So we're good on that? Upcoming events, ribbon cutting.
Sure. So one of the things, and it may not be on every agenda going forward, but I want to let you know that we are, Alex is doing a great job as our marketing communications manager in terms of scheduling ribbon cuttings. This is a business that the IDA and Operations Oswego County have both assisted. They are doing a ribbon cutting for the new manufacturing line down at the industrial park on August 6th. So obviously we'll all be invited, just giving you a heads up now. Keep it open on your calendar. This is a really cool company. They are a 3D additive printing company. So they are doing for metal. So they're doing 3D printing with metal products where they actually melt the metal and then it reforms, kind of instantly as it gets onto the thing, and allows them to do a lot of really interesting prototyping, as well as doing some one-off or small-scale, runs of equipment. They are a company that is getting into the drone industry in terms of manufacturing for drone companies, which is kind of coming out of a whole new era, and the effort going on throughout Central New York to really build that industry here. So they're one of our, I guess, first companies in Oswego County that is part of, I would get, that sort of the drone supply chain. But they're a very innovative company, and we're excited that they chose the industrial park to continue to grow their business.
Great, thank you. Looks like we need to go into executive session for the next couple of items. Kevin, can you explain why?
Yeah, so this would be a couple of reasons: to discuss the financial history of a particular person or corporation, also to discuss pending litigation. So it's under Public Officers Law, Section 105.
So can we get a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Pat and Mark.
It's 9:02.
sheet, right?
We're good?
We've got one.
We are on.
Before we get about it?
And did we need a resolution for the, to engage CNS for additional? Was that-
Keep it.
We're live?
Yep.
Can I have a motion to come out of executive session, please? Mark? Second. No? All right,
10:54.
10:54, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And we're now out of executive session, so regarding item number 7, we need to have a motion regarding the micro enterprise loan for $25,000. Entertain.
I'll make it.
Tim, seconded by Pat. All those, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The $75,000 IRP2 loan request for the Forge.
Make the motion.
Mark,
I'll second.
Mel, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The Canal Corp, what we're looking for here is a motion to authorize Austin and Kevin Caracoli to negotiate on our behalf, an agreement between us and the Canal Corp to utilize the property at the Coleman Mill site for parking and logistics. So more to flip it now. Mark and
I'll second.
Tricia, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Pilot EDF report, do we need to do that?
We talked about engaging CNS for additional engineering services.
Alright, so we're looking to engage CNS for, to complete the engineering services for items in relation to completing construction bid drawings? Is that where we're going with
Wetland
this?
delineation and traffic study.
Wetland and delineation and traffic study.
I'll make that motion.
Tricia,
I'll second.
Mel, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Delinquent loan report. Can I get a motion to accept the delinquent loan report?
So moved.
Mark? Second. Pat? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And I believe that's all we had to do when we came out, correct? And any other business, Austin? Devin?
No other business come before the board?
Anybody else?
I just have a question. There was something going in front of the state legislature, I believe it was, about
Yes.
the board.
Yeah, so, good question. So it has gone through both the New York State Assembly and the New York State Senate, and approved by both, to temporarily increase the size of the IDA boards to include one representative from labor and one representative from either a school board or school superintendent. It still needs to go to the governor for approval or for veto. We are not sure how that will go at this time, but until the governor has approved it and a certain amount of time goes by, I'm not sure if it's 180 days or whatever, typically related to state law, it would then go into effect. So I believe at this time, and we'll keep the board updated as it goes, but it may be something that when the county reaffirms or reappoints board members and at the beginning of the year, that may be something that we may need to add an additional temporary board member to represent a school board.
Is Pat considered labor at this point, even though he's retired? or-
So they didn't really provide a lot of clarification in this, so we don't really know. I believe he would be, and it's really at the discretion of the appointing body, which is the Oswego County Legislature. There's no other body who kind of provides that information, so I think so, but
He's chosen to represent labor.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so to the best of our information right now, unless somebody currently on the board then joins a school board or decides to throw their hat in the ring to be a school superintendent, that may be something we would need to add in the future. So,
Only me.
but
We're gonna need to add one.
more to come. I mean, it really depends on if the governor approves it or not. It seemed like it was pretty universally supported through both the Senate and the Assembly, so I imagine it will probably be approved, but nothing we can do at this time.
Okay.
Good question though, thanks Mel.
Next meetings, we've got July 18th.
Which is a rescheduled date, originally for the 25th, but I think, yeah, all that's been changed on all your calendars, so.
And we've got August 28th.
Yeah. So,
We could look at potentially, we could schedule one for tentatively schedule one for September and kind of have our third month out. You know, we can look at the Tuesday, September 24th, Wednesday, September 5th. I have something Thursday, September 26th, but if it works for everybody, I could potentially move that.
I'm out Tuesdays and Thursdays for next semester.
Okay. Do we want to look at Wednesday, September 5th, 25th?
25th?
Yeah.
That works for me.
Does it work for everyone else?
8:30 again?
Sure.
If that works for the group? And like I said, I mean, the nice thing about this is if we have to change it, we have time to change it. If it doesn't work for people, but it's good to kind of get it on the calendar. And so next meeting, or not next meeting, but the September meeting tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, September 25th. The other dates that we have are not to change at this time.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Tim, all those in favor?
bye.
Thank you.